about my city, a little town where I'm from, where everybody's southern raised, just as good as they come. Backwoods and mossy oak and mud holes. And back then we only ate what the farm grow. Man, I miss some days how we played on them dirt roads. And out of towners came with respect, cause they know we all close. Yeah, southern pride, toting gun folks. Welcome to my city, I-75 South, just north of Live.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, skin backwoods when they ride this small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, downtown, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We eddy up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
It's nothing like our dirt roads, you can bet that, son. I'm from a city, by any means, we gon' protect our guns. I hang with the rednecks and yee-geeks. We get up in big trucks in the backwoods like Indians and teepees. This the home of the mighty, mighty Vikings. Wildcats, blazing, Titletown license. Winners, pretty girls with country grammar. When I say about Austin, Georgia, I ain't talking about Atlanta. This a different type of city, where the woods are pretty, but get gritty. You hear me? What you know about that 229? You can find us on the Florida, Georgia line, where I reside.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, skin backwoods when we ride this small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, downtown, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We eddy up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey. Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, skin backwoods when we ride this small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, downtown, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We eddy up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
Hey, what's up, Lowndes County, and welcome to the Viking Nation Live. This is our weekly celebration of our community, specifically athletics and the Lowndes Vikings. Now, we do, from time to time, talk about other programs like we've done in the past. We've talked about Valdosta, Camden County, Richmond Hill, Colquitt County, Cook County, Berrien, and all these other teams around here. We had superfan Cole Moore from the Thomas County Central Yellow Jackets on last week to talk about his beloved TCC team over there. But this week, it's all about Lowndes all the time. So with that said, I'm your host, Larry Godwin, and you are joining me tonight on the Viking Nation Live. Listen, let me go ahead and thank our sponsors because we do have a lot to talk about tonight. But before we get there, let me go ahead and thank our sponsors, Pepsi of Valdosta. Thank you guys for sponsoring, really our title sponsor this year. You guys know these folks by now. They are the makers and distributors of Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Rockstar, Mountain Dew Energy, and Mountain Dew Spark, as well as their newest drink. It's really not so new anymore. It's been out about, a year now? Something like that. The new limited lime drink called Starry, available at all your retailers in the area. Thank you so much to Kyle Conger at White Oak Investment. Guys, you know the story by now. The stock market is doing great right now, but sometimes it goes up and down, up and down. If you haven't planned out your financial future yet, you need to give Kyle a call at White Oak Investment, 229-850-8848. Oh, by the way, the market has been doing great lately, and I'm so thankful for that. So we also want to thank Tim Neesmith, Stickman, friend of the show and personal friend of mine. A Shade of Perfection is his company because he specializes in not producing shades. No, I guess he does. Custom shades and blinds. That's what he does. So if you want to make your house beautiful, one way you can do it is to dress up those window coverings. And Tim can help you do that. Custom shades and blinds at A Shade of Perfection, 229-251-3479. We thank these guys, Josh Batson and Justin Haskin at the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. They are your South Georgia and North Florida certified headache medicine specialists. They offer a variety of migraine and back pain treatments. Thanks, guys, for your friendship. Thank you so much for your partnership. And thank you to Chandler Kudik at Aquaworks Pool Company. Chandler's got the pool looking beautiful. Got to admit, you can give him a call at 229-415-0752, and he can have your pool sparkling just as good as mine. So anyway, give these guys a call. And finally, Imperial Auto Sales. Two fine sponsors here, Tony Green and Trey Hatcher at Imperial Auto Sales. These guys do a great job. If you don't believe me, go read their internet Google reviews. They are just off the charts, out of this world. They've got two locations to help you out with your automotive needs. One's on Ashley Street, 1410 North Ashley Street, and the other was on Bay Tree Road at 1600 Bay Tree Road. That's Imperial Auto Sales. Thank you so much, guys, for your sponsorship of the program this year. So thank you, all of our sponsors. And so, with that said, guys, I gotta say that tomorrow is the deadline. I had someone ask me this week. It's like, when is the deadline for season tickets? So we've been trying to share that with you for the last several weeks. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, tomorrow is the deadline to renew your season tickets. They're $65 per package. Renewals until tomorrow. No renewals by mail. Upgrades start to occur on July 24th. So if you are new to the upgrade game, it's basically for existing ticket renewals. And so let's say you have you've got some season tickets on row 5, section 3 or F or something like that, and you want to move closer to the 50-yard line. Well, sometimes happens every single year. You may have some band parents where their kids have graduated and they just don't want to go to the football games anymore, so they'll give up their season tickets. Or you might have a long-time season ticket holder that just isn't able to go to the games anymore, and they may give up their tickets or their seats for the next year. So if those are available, the existing season ticket holders can upgrade, what they call upgrade, or they might be able to change, or you might want to add to your season ticket package. All that happens on Monday, July 24th. And then once that happens, starting on Tuesday, this is when remaining season tickets go on sale to the general public. And I'm going to put up a screen that shows the layout of the stadium. Now, to most of you, this is going to be self-explanatory, but we always have new folks that is joining the program, joining the community. They may not know what the layout of the stadium is. So I'm going to show it to you. So here it is, right there on the field. So the bottom half of this slide, that's basically where the interstate is. Press box, that's the home side, right? So this area, EDBACFG, that is the home side of the stadium. And to the right of that is the bandstand where the Bridgemen sit. Now, on the visitor side, you may be asking, why are you showing the visitor side? Because we do have season ticket holders, and a lot of our fans sit on the or sit on the visitor side. They choose to do that. They just love it over there. So anyway, the majority of the seats on the home side have been sold, but there's always other seats available. Now, you can always get season tickets on the visitor side, completely up to you. But anyway, thought I would just go ahead and lay out the stadium for you if you have no idea. So anyway, that starts on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Okay. Now I want to bring something to your attention. Now, this dude right here, I have been trying to get Jacob Spiess on this show because he and I have been jawing back and forth all year, especially when he got hot during the golf season. He's a really, really good golfer to begin with, continuing his college education there at, I think it's Georgia College and State University, something like that, up in Milledgeville, I believe. So he's got a college golf scholarship up there. And, last week he was on vacation, and that was my fault. scheduling change on my fault. So this week, he's coming back from his college orientation trip, and he's on the road now. So I reached out to him about an hour or two ago and asked him if he was going to make the show. He told me he was on his way back. He's going to try to make the show. I said, listen, if you don't make it, I'm going to trash talk. That's just the way it is. So unless he shows up or calls in and sets the record straight, all you guys know is I challenged Jake to a straight up 18-hole event a few weeks ago, and I whipped him. I got him running scared. He won't even show up on the show because I beat him so bad. So, Jake, if you want to set the record straight, you got to show up. Now, just between you and me, he whooped my butt, but don't tell him I said that, okay? So, anyway, there's something new that's coming down from Tierra Battle. Come on, whose side are you on? So there is something coming down from the GHSA that is a new rule that's going to go into effect for baseball in 2024, and that's this. Now, I'm not a baseball guy, so you high school baseball guys, you let me know. You think this is a good idea, bad idea? I have no idea. But starting next year, electronic communication devices from dugout catchers, from dugout to catchers to be permitted in high school baseball. Devices between a coach and a team's catcher for calling pitches will be permitted beginning in 2024. So is that a good idea? I don't know. So here's the actual rule. The use of a one-way, that's the key. The use of a one-way communication device between a coach in the dugout and a team's catcher for the purposes of calling pitches will be permitted in high school baseball beginning in 2024. So it's basically for, you know how the catcher looks over there to the dugout and the coach flashes a signal or a sign saying what pitch he wants thrown. So now apparently they can have a one-way communication device. I guess it's a one-way walkie-talkie basically. So I'm assuming the catcher's got an earpiece in his helmet and the coach calls his pitch and, the catcher signals to the pitcher. So anyway, starting in 2024, that is going to be allowed. So the new rules prohibit coaches from communicating with any other player besides the catcher on defense and with any player while batting. The coach must also be in the dugout when using the communication device. So is that good? Is it bad? I don't know. Travis Hart says those devices are smart. It stops from stealing signs when the player is on base. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Let's see. Now, who are you talking? Okay, Jamie, please help me with your last. Is it Visnick? Jamie Visnick says that we just moved here. We don't have kids. We would like to get involved with community events, et cetera. We would like to just come see come on out, Jamie. Just bring your family, man. Come on out. You will love it. You will absolutely. Now, obviously, you don't. If you just want to catch a couple of games, you don't need season tickets. And if you want to sit on the home side, most of the great seats are going to be season ticket holders, but there's always room available on the home side if you just want to attend a couple of games. And of course, you can always choose to sit on the visitor side if you want great seats on the 50-yard line or something like that. But anyway, welcome to the community. Welcome to the Viking Nation, man. Love to meet you and your family. So I think a lot of y'all are saying the same thing. Jamie, you would not be disappointed. Jeff Dasher says, I believe you would love the atmosphere. Jamie, I'm just curious, man. How did you know about our show? You just moved to the community. Did you hear about us? Did you check us out on Facebook? We're always trying to get feedback from our audience and, improve our organization. We started out on Facebook, expanded to this format. So we're going to expand even more from here. So y'all stay tuned for that. Trainer says, LG, got to hook Jamie up with Wintersville tickets. Trainer, that's a big ask. but Jamie, that's a really good game to catch. Now, it won't be at Martin Stadium this year. It'll be at Valdosta's Bazemore Hyder Stadium, which, Trainer, for Lions fans, it's much harder, more difficult to get those tickets, but we might be able to work something out. So obviously can't make any promises just because the tickets were at the Valdosta Stadium this year. But Jamie, that is a great game to try to catch because there's no atmosphere like the Wintersville Classic. I think everybody in this audience would agree with that. Trezor Brown says, me too, N and O section, visitor side, puts us right in the middle of the action. Once we whip them, they believe it's nothing but Viking parents. Oh, that's funny stuff. Now, speaking of that, let's talk about one other thing that the GHSA is really emphasizing this year, and it's this. Now, this is not talking about, they're not talking about this campaign geared towards players or changing the rules on the field or whatever. They've introduced this campaign directed at the fans. Do y'all remember last year when we went through the coaching issues that we had at Lowndes last year? So presumably it was because of bad language, behavior, that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying that it's true, but that's presumably that's what we all heard. So, and apparently Lowndes put a big premium on that type of behavior. So should that same premium be put on the fans in the stadiums all across Georgia? That's what the GHSA is saying. Basically, your character is showing. And this is basically a campaign not just to improve sportsmanship among fans, but it's really geared towards helping out officials on the field as well. Because it's no secret by now, there is an officials shortage, a referee shortage all across the state in just about every sport, right? And one of the biggest driving influencers of officials either quitting or not joining the sport, not renewing, they're retiring, that kind of stuff, is fan behavior. Not the behavior from the sidelines, because they expect to hear it from the coaches, but behavior from the stadium, from the seats. So here's a question that I've got for you. Here's the next slide for that. So here's the question I've asked for you, that I've got for you. Oops, wrong slide. So should fans be expected to cut out bad behavior? Should fans be expected to cut out bad behavior? And should unruly fans be asked to leave the stadium? Or should be issued a warning first? But should they ultimately, if they don't calm down, should they be asked to leave the stadium? You know what I'm talking about. There are extreme examples, right? The ones that we think about are the ones that start fights in the stands where they heckle the other opposing crowd, that kind of stuff. No, what I think the GHSA, obviously they're talking about that, but what I think the GHSA is getting at are the fans that just give it to the officials all the time, nonstop. You know who I'm talking about. It is so, I cannot stand attending a game, whether it's a high school game or a college or pro game, where you've got fans sitting right next to you that is basically cussing out the coach. GD this and GD that. You should be fired. You should do this. You should do that. That kind of, man, that is terrible sportsmanship. And I don't think it should have any place in a stadium. So anyway, Travis Hart says there's a difference between passionate fans and unruly fans. I agree. There is. There's a major, major difference. But I think we can all agree that there are some fans that just get carried away. There are some fans that they're just out of hand, and they probably should be asked to at least leave their seats temporarily just to calm down, right? Jamie Visnick says, I got on Valdosta Community when we moved here on Facebook. My husband, Steve, and I am a grandma. We have grandbabies. I'm a mom. It's okay. You're cool. Appreciate the compliment, Jamie. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Well, thanks for choosing Valdosta to retire to. That's fantastic. Oh boy, here we go. Casey says, if those officials, so here's the premise: we'll behave, but if those officials would get the calls right, for the fans wouldn't get so unruly. I hear you. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Half of Colquitt fans on the visitor side should be escorted. Now, in their defense, Greg's he's talking about the stadium over there where you got a lot of their home fans are on the visitor side. They heckle. Now, in their defense, every fan base has these fans. Now, we've seen Lounge fans get unruly with visiting fans. I don't deny it. We've seen it. We've seen it. So it does happen. It does happen. Cole Moore, I thought we was friends. Cole, I have no idea what you're talking about. Of course we're friends. Cole Moore, Cole says, I see I wasn't reminded the show was on. Cole, listen, follow the page, and as soon as we go live, you get a notification that we're live. So that's your cue that we're live, and join us on the show. Now, obviously, you're always welcome to call in. And listen, anybody can call in tonight because I had several guests lined up. Oh, shoot. Name just escaped me. Christopher Reese. Was that right? I think that's right. Christopher Reese, the assistant head coach and tight ends coach, was scheduled to join me tonight, but something came up. They had to postpone or reschedule to next Thursday night. So Coach Reese couldn't be with us. And then we had Jacob pull out. And so he couldn't be with us tonight. And so it's like, okay, it's going to be one of those kind of nights, but hey, that's okay. As they say in the business, the show must go on. Travis Brown says, ring the bell every down. They play loud music. Yeah. Now they did upgrade their speaker system, and man, that is so loud. Oh my gosh. I feel so bad for those officials on that end zone down there when they have to stand down there. And some of the, I think our cheerleaders are on that end too. And they've got those, what seems like 1,000 speakers right there on the visitors end zone, and it gets loud down there. I mean, that to me, that is an artificial noisemaker when it's that close to the field, when speakers are that close to the field. And I thought artificial noisemakers were disallowed. I really did. So anyway. Jody Hewitt says, LG, I'll call and give you a Hey Higher middle school run. Jody, come on, man. The phone line is ready. Let me go ahead and put that number back on the screen. It's 229-469-1205. So give me a shout. I'll just go ahead and leave that number up there so y'all can see that. All right. So here's what time it is now. You guys know what time it is? It's time for the quote of the day. If you want to be successful, you must respect one rule. If you want to be successful, you got to respect one rule. Never lie to yourself. You can lie to people. You can lie to your mama. You can lie to your grandparents. You can lie to your coaches. You can lie to your teachers. But when you are on the field and you are squared up with that dude across the line of scrimmage from you, there's no more lying. How good are you? Never, ever lie to yourself. Hey, caller, welcome to the Viking Nation Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, LG, this is Jody.
Jody, how you doing, my man?
Good, man. How about you?
I'm doing real good. So you've got a Hey Higher middle school update for us.
Well, I am a Hey Higher middle school wide receiver coach. I don't know if you know that.
I did not know. Now, Jody, are you a community coach, or are you like a full-blown full-time coach?
No, I am a fourth-year community coach.
Well, awesome, dude. Awesome. Well, let us know how the middle school program's doing.
Well, I can only talk about Hey Higher. I don't know anything about the others.
Okay.
We're doing four day a week practices in the morning from 7:30 to 10:30.
Yep.
And for even for somebody like me, a parent that works a job, you would think, that's probably really not a good schedule. But I think we had 86 today.
86 at Hey Higher Middle School.
6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Man, that's a fantastic bullpen, man.
Yep. So really, I really more or less wanted to come on and say thank you to all the parents out there that are, really probably, extending yourself out to get your kids to practice. I know it's, tough, especially with you having to go to work, but
right,
man, you don't realize what this means. And the biggest thing, a lot of people even people watching this show that mostly watch and follow, high school football don't realize that middle school football starts. Our first game is the second week of school.
Right.
And so, we try to push summer, workouts, get in, let's do summer, let's get you learning. And, right now, obviously like everybody else, we're putting in a brand new offense and a brand new defense that Coach Carter has asked for us to run. So we're kind of stacking and building on top of what he's going to do when they get there. So
that's smart.
It is. And I'm going to tell you, in my 4 years now, going on my fourth year this year, coaching in the middle school, Coach Carter has been, he's the coach that has been the most involved in middle school sports of all the ones we've had in the last 4 years.
That's good to know.
Yeah, a lot of new equipment, not just helmets and shoulder pads and pants and jerseys, but we've got new water cows, we've got new footballs, we've got stuff that we haven't been able to do and able to get, because all the money we use is either comes from the high school or we have to raise it ourselves. So
it sounds like he's putting a big priority on the middle schools.
It definitely is. And it's going to show, it may take a year or two, but it's going to all come out. You'll start seeing more of a feeder program like Valdosta has had for years.
Yeah.
And that's what, I think that's what the plan is, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Now, Jody, let me stop you right there and ask you to clarify something for the fans that may not know because what you just said may have stumped some people when you said that this really sets up our feeder program like Valdosta's had for years. Now, the casual fan may think that we've always had a middle school program. I always thought it was a feeder program. So what do you mean by that, and how have things changed?
Well, in the past, we've been able to run, we'll get some playbooks from the high school, but we've been able to run kind of what we want to, because obviously, Hayhire will play Pine Grove and Hayhire will play Lowndes Middle. And so all three of us will play each other as middle school teams. And in the past, some of the coaches and some of the schools have just kind of done their own thing, and there's not really been any issue, but Coach Carter wants it ran a particular way. And, obviously, we don't have to run the same plays as every other school, but we have the same pool to pull from. So we run basically the ninth grade runs a wash down version of what the varsity runs.
Okay.
And we're able to pull out of the ninth grade playbook.
Gotcha.
So, the 20 plays or whatever 25 plays we wind up running this year may not be the same 25 plays that Lowndes Middle runs or that Pine Grove runs, but it's more or less getting the concept in and getting the terminology down now, the lineups in, the formations, all that stuff is in now, and we can build on it from sixth grade, add a little bit more in seventh grade, add a little bit more in eighth grade, and then send them to the high school with the knowledge and the information of how things are done when they start adding on their additional plays and formations on top of what we've already started. So that's how the feeder program works. So they're not, it's like we're not taking, a kid that don't know nothing about football and throwing him at the high school. They're prepared and they're ready to go when they get there. So they have a wide, knowledge base of what we're doing, and they understand, when you give them a call, they understand what you're telling them to do.
That's right. That's right. Hey, Jody, without, giving away trade secrets or anything like that, how has the offensive and defensive schemes changed from previous years?
It's not massive. The changes I can only speak for the offensive side. I don't know much about the defense because I'm just a wide receiver coach. But a lot of the formations really haven't changed other than the terminology of them. But the plays, definitely are much more advanced than stuff we've ran in the past. So really, last year and the year before that, we're much more. Our plays and formations and routes and stuff as far as wide receivers are concerned are much more advanced. Things like you would see ran probably more likely at a college outside of what a high school would typically run. I mean, they're not simple. They're easy to comprehend and understand, but they're not simple. So simple that it's easy for somebody to really pick up what you're doing.
Gotcha.
it makes it easier for us to go. And obviously what we're doing is just a wash down version. So, I mean, the high school is running, something even more advanced than what we're doing.
Now, would you describe it as a spread offense or an air raid or a pro style, or how would you describe it?
I mean, we definitely have the more of a spread look to the majority of our formations, but we still have a lot of inside stuff. So keep the ball to a running back and run it downhill and run it down the throat. And so we still have all those plays, and it's no different for us at the middle school than it is at the high school. We're going to play, and we're going to call plays to our advantage based on our personnel. So, if we got some extremely good running backs, then we're probably going to run the ball most of the time. But if we got some really good wide receivers and a good quarterback, which, middle school was kind of hard to find, but they're getting better and better and better the last few years. But I mean, obviously we always want to try to run a balanced attack, but at the same time, when you're going to 3 middle schools with 3 teams each, we were looking at last year, I think the combined 8th grade team had like 84 kids on it.
Yeah.
And right now, I think we've got 27 on the Hayhire 8th grade team. So, you don't want to run your kids to death, because the majority of those kids are going to play both sides of the ball in special teams, so they may not even get a break during the game.
Gotcha.
So you got to think your game plan has to be more than just, this is our options that are out there for formations and plays. You got to think of how the longevity of the game plays out.
That's right. Well, that's good stuff, man. Any particular, now this may be an unfair question since you just getting started. So any athletes we should be on the lookout for in the next few years coming up from Hayhire Middle?
Yeah, we got several really good skill players, which is almost out of ordinary for Hayhire to have. Typically we would have more linemen, but we really have a lot of skill players coming out. There's several to look for. 8th grade this year for Hayhire, and I'm pretty sure across the board with all the middle schools are really going to be producing something really, really to look forward to, especially coming into high school next year. I mean, we got our quarterback, which is Will Shoptaw, has been talked about a lot. He did a really good job there in the spring. So look forward to seeing him. He's dealing with a little injury right now, so he's not being able to go, but he should be by the time the season starts or into the season. So
gotcha.
But him, he's phenomenal. Kayvon Thomas is a very good wide receiver. Waylon Weidinger is playing tight end for the 8th grade. Very, very talented. That kid could play anywhere on the field and do any job you need. Very spectacular athlete. And there's plenty of others. I don't want to give out, I don't want to toot too many horns, but yeah, we definitely got the athletes, and like I say, I just see what Hayhire does, but I've played against these other schools in our system, and I know that every school has got plenty of athletes. So really looking forward to, when they get the opportunity to combine with the other schools and seeing what it's like in 9th grade. So, looking forward to that.
I got you. Hey, Jody, one final question. Franklin Webb's got a question for you. Are the middle schools participating in the scrimmage in a couple of weeks?
No, we are not. That's just for the high schools. I don't even know if 9th grade is even participating in it. I haven't heard that yet either, but no, we are not participating in that.
Gotcha.
Typically we'd have some type of scrimmage. I don't know if that's even something that's been discussed, but obviously inter-system is what we normally would do. So it'd be either us against Pine Grove or us against Lowndes Middle, whichever one, if that even happens. I'm not sure at this point, so.
Yeah. Now y'all will be there on the day of the Meet the Vikings event, right?
Yes, we always do the Meet the Vikings.
Gotcha. Okay. Man, I appreciate the call. This was very informative.
Not a problem.
Thanks for the call, Jody.
Glad to fill in for somebody.
Absolutely, man. You're welcome to call anytime.
Sounds good.
See you, man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Man, was that good stuff or what? That was music to your. No, listen, if you're a Lowndes fan, That was music to your ears. What do you say? 86 players, 82 players, something like that. Just in the higher middle school program. So if you just carry that out, just extrapolate that times three. I mean, you got over 250 kids into that program, right? Almost you're pushing 270 now. If that's it, if each school carries that same number, we don't know that for sure, but that's a lot of kids. That's a lot of talent in the cupboard. So anyway, good stuff, man. Good stuff. So back to the quote of the day. If you want to be successful, you got to respect one rule: never lie to yourself. That's in the professional world, it's in the sports world, it's definitely in the football world. Shakespeare had a different way of saying it. He had a very similar thought. He said, "To thine own self be true." And you can't get it any truer than that. Because listen, you can think that you're good, but until you line up straight up on a dude across the line of scrimmage from you, somebody's going to win that battle, right? And all you have to do as a player is to win 1 8-second battle at a time. If you win at every 8 seconds, you're going to have a pretty dang good team. That's just the way it is. Now, we were talking about these scrimmages or the scrimmage. So let me give you the days until. There's only 22 days. Did you guys realize that? We're 3 weeks away. Let me say that again. We are 3 weeks away until the Tift County scrimmage. Whew. That means we're only 2 weeks away until the Meet the Vikings event. 22 days until the Tift County scrimmage and 30 days until kickoff versus Christ School over at McThart Stadium in Moultrie, Georgia. Now that translates, you've been keeping up with our show this year, that translates into 2,592,000 seconds until game day. So anyway, so there has been another, something else to talk about. A few days ago, this has been going on for a couple of weeks, but I was made aware of a couple of days ago, maybe about a week ago. And so it's this vote on this website, scorebooklive.com. And they asked the question, which stadium has the best which stadium has the best Friday night high school football vibe in the Peach State heading into 2023? And so I want to show you what that looks like. Look at that. It's not Martin Stadium. It's not. I'm going to blow this up. See who that is? Waycross's Memorial Stadium has 35.5% of the vote at 14,000 votes. So now, obviously, a lot of their fans, you can vote more than one time. So obviously, a lot of their fans are just flooding that website, that kind of stuff. Look at Martin Stadium, where it ranks. We're in what, fifth place with 11% of the vote. Now, this voting will stay open until when? September? Something like that. Oh, here it gets. Poll closes September 15th. So listen, go vote. Go vote. Now, when we were made aware of this, we had like 1,300 votes, 1,400 votes. So I'm happy that we were able to help with the effort by boosting at about 3,000 votes in a few days. But if we want some bragging rights, we got to start voting. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and put this into the comments. So if you don't know what we're talking about, the link is right there. Now, don't click on it right now. Don't click on it right now. Stay with the show for now. But after the show, you can go back in the comments and click on that link. It'll take you right to it. A couple more things. You're going to enjoy this. You are going to enjoy this. All right. So something big happened this past Monday. It's a milestone that happens every Monday at this time of year. Check this out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check this out. I'm going to take myself. Why is that not playing? Man, you got to love it when technology works. That's for sure. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure why that's not playing. This is so aggravating. But anyway, that is supposed to be the Bridgemen doing their thing. And I'm not exactly sure why they're not doing their thing. So anyway, what happened? Steve Nichols on his show, he says he never has technical problems. Uh-huh. Okay. So anyway, what happened this past Monday was the Georgia Bridgemen started their band camp. And I've been told that it is hotter than the face of the sun out there. But you know what? All those kids are out there putting in the work to put together a product that we can all be proud of. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Now, I want to go ahead and give you a heads up. Don't be alarmed on the first Friday night when there's a noticeable amount of kids not there. I've been told that we're going to have a smaller band this year due to COVID. You know, COVID happened a couple of years ago, several years ago. And because of that, kids didn't go to school like they should. And when they were allowed to go back in the schools, they had to wear a mask. Some kids dropped out. Apparently, a lot of kids dropped out of band during that time. So when those kids grew up and now they're in the 9th grade going to join the Bridgemen, they're just not there. So it's still going to be a pretty good sized band, but we're probably going to come in at 350, 360, 370 kids, something like that. So it's not the 450 that we're used to, but don't get alarmed. There's nothing wrong with the band program. It's just I'm told it's due to COVID and, you know, kids just dropping out, not being able to practice, that kind of stuff. So now next year, you should see the numbers start to go back up because kids got re-enrolled in band at the middle school level. And so you should see a bigger freshman class coming in next year. So anyway, just wanted to give you that heads up. Greg Maddox says, Larry, I told you for $1,000 a week, I'll be your producer and have everything set up to run on Thursdays. Now, Greg, if you can give me that same guarantee for $0 a week, I'm there. I'm right there with you. I'm just kidding. Now, I don't know exactly what happened there, but I'll figure it out after the show. Something stupid, I guess. But you guys have figured it out by now. I'm always doing something wrong, and we recover and we move on, right? So now it would have been cool because at this time of year, every single year, I play that song and you guys get all jazzed up because it's that Georgia Bridgeman. Dun, 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 dun. So, and Cole Moore says always, see, Cole, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So listen, starting at about 2 to 3 hours before showtime on Thursdays, wherever I am in my territory, my alarm goes off like, oh crap, I got to hit it. I got to hit the road, get back. And so when I run through the door, I'm trying to put together a show last minute, that kind of stuff, get all the details put together. And sometimes some of those details get left out in the cold. So Greg, I wish I could afford a producer. That's for sure, but I can't. So that's that. So we've had some summer OTAs this week. I think one particular, we had 8 teams visit the Lowndes campus a couple of days ago. And from what I understand, has some pretty good competition. Cole, I believe your arch rival, the Thomasville Bulldogs, was one of those teams. Steve, I don't know. That's a good question. Yes, your details are left out. I'm not sure what you're referring to. So anyway, listen, I was challenged last week when I gave my prediction for the season, and I was challenged that there's no way. Y'all remember, I threw it out there that Lowndes is probably going to go 8-2, outside chance of going 9-1, and even more of an outside chance, but it's possible, going 10-0. And I predicted that Lowndes would win the region. And I had a bunch of phone calls like, Larry, are you sure about that? Have you been drinking? What is on your mind? Colquitt is it's prohibited favorite. They're going to take this region. It's Colquitt, and then everybody else is playing for second place. Then I got a Valdosta fan, Sam Horn, calling and said, Lowndes is going to finish fourth. And you got other people saying the Lowndes is going to finish fourth. Some got us finished second, some third. And I feel like I'm out there on an island. Cole Moore, he's laughing at me. He's like 9-1, 10-0. Are you crazy? All right, so what I thought I would do, it is easy to say, yeah, they should be 4-6 or 5-5, 6-4, 8-2, whatever. But then you get into the game of actually going through the schedule and lining up. Now, I know this is still way too early. We have no idea what these teams are capable of doing. Cole Moore says 8-2. Or 7-3. So Cole, you seem like you're going down on the charts, man. You're going down on the charts. All right. So no, Lowndes is not bringing back silver helmets, but a guy can dream, right? This is my dream. I wish we would. This is my dream. Although this is looking very, very Ohio State-ish, right? But I kind of like their helmets too. So anyway, so let's go through this schedule and determine whether or not Lowndes can run the table. Travis Hart saying 7-3 real record, 8-2 best. Okay. Wilbur Pelfrey, I'll go ahead and put this up. Wilbur, he says, don't know if you know, LG, the team is having their last fundraising for 2-a-days camp. They announced today each player has their own page. Candace Marie can share more. Thanks. Yes, send those. Listen, I've been out of the loop a little bit. So if you've got those details, Wilbur or Candace, and if you want to send it to me, I can post it up on the screen. Fill me in on the details. Or better yet, Wilbur, why don't you call and let us know. Trainer says, I had 9-1, remember, before the transfers out and those who stepped away from football. That's fair. That's fair. But it's still a little too early to know exactly what we have. Now I've heard that we've gotten a player or two that might be transferring in to the program. So I don't know about that. Now, I did see a kid out of Madison. I did check out his Twitter page today, and he's got one Lowndes there. So he may be already with the program. So anyway, Jody Hewitt, you hit the nail right on the head. Closed practices, so nobody really knows. So here's the details right here. All right. So if you want to click on that after the show, that link that will take you to the players page. I'm sure every player's got one of those pages. So it sounds like one of those deals, those fundraising deals where player has a link, they can email it out, maybe put it on social media. And if you want to support the program via that particular player, you can click on the link and donate to the program. It probably sounds like that's what it is. Now Jody's teasing us. He's teasing us. He says, forget about what you remember about Lowndes. I want to encourage everyone to be at Martin Stadium on August 11th. Remember, August 11th is the preseason scrimmage with Tift County. So you are correct. Jody, listen, I've heard that things may look a little bit different. So Candace Marie, Candace has a way of, I get sidetracked a lot because I swear I have ADHD. I hadn't been officially diagnosed, but I swear I do. So anyway, I get distracted easily, but Candace has a way of snapping me back to reality and say, hey, focus. So she asked the question exactly. So how are they predicting? She's talking about what Jody Hewitt said because the practices are closed. Candace, they're just guessing. Just like the rest of it, we're all just guessing. So anyway, okay, let's get back to this particular schedule. All right, so August 19th, Christ School. This is the very first game of the year, right? Over at Colquitt County. Now, I'm predicting a Lowndes win. I just am. I'm even going to go on a limb and say Lowndes is going to win by at least 2 touchdowns. Okay, either 14 or 17 points. Okay, so if that's the case, Lowndes goes 1-0. Gadsden County, Florida. Now, if you guys disagree, chime in at any time. Jody's got an interesting question. Where's Billy Pearson tonight? Jody, that's a great question. No, Billy has started to build a house. He and his bride, Michelle Pearson, they are starting to build a house. They just broke ground. They've been waiting for weather to clear up, that kind of stuff. So they just broke ground, a week or so ago. And so he is neck deep in trying to build a house. So he is coming back to the show. We haven't fired him, but he's just unable to join us tonight. So we remind him every week. Oh, listen, before we continue, let me just welcome back Valerie Belcher. Valerie, hey, how you doing? So she's been on the road lately. So Valerie, I know your oldest has graduated from the program, so it's glad to see you back here on the Viking Nation. Jody says, tell Billy I've got good news. Billy, Jody's got good news. I'm sure he's watching tonight. So anyway, let's get back to this. You guys distracted me with the comments. By all means, keep contributing with these comments on the White Oak Investment comment line. All right, so what you thinking? Christ School, Lowndes goes 1-0. 1-0. So the very next week, August 25th, against Gadsden County. That's going to be the very first home game. Listen, Lowndes is going to win that one by 3 or more scores. That's just the way it is. Okay, so now you see my logic. Now they're 2-0. West Broward, same thing. Lowndes is going to win big. Now we're 3-0 going into the open week. So the big first test. Now, when I say Christ School is going to be a test, but I still think Lowndes pulls away and wins by 2 scores. So the big first test, really, where it could go down to the wire, is East Coweta. They come visiting. Remember, last year we went up to Sharpsburg. This year they come visiting down to Martin Stadium. And so we host them at 8 o'clock. It's the Indians. And so this is going to be a close game. Now, I had to vacillate back and forth on this. I think Lowndes pulls this out in the last 3 to 4 minutes. Now, this is purely speculation on my part. But East Coweta had a pretty good team last year. Now, our team has matured by a year. Okay, so I'm thinking Lowndes is still going to win this game. Let's say by a score. Now we're 4-0. I wonder how they'll look after they lost their quarterback to Buford. That's a good question, which is an interesting question because what just happened to Buford a couple of weeks ago, Tierra? Dylan Riola happened to Buford a couple of weeks ago. So is that quarterback going to stay there? We don't know. My bet would be he's going to be looking for another home, but I don't know. Okay, let's assume for a second, in Larry's world, now Lowndes is 4-0, headed up to Loganville to play Grayson, the Grayson Rams. So who do you think? Coach Trainer says East Coweta quarterback from last year is on the bench at Buford now. Yes, he is. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to be a pretty good team, right? So East Coweta, I think, is Lowndes is going to beat by at least a score. So now we go up to Loganville and play Grayson. Now, obviously, this is where Adam Carter comes from or just came from. So the Grayson Rams are going to have a little bit of extra juice that night because that's just the way it is when your previous coach takes his new team and they're coming into your place. That's just the way it is, right? So what do you think? Now, this is a monster test for Lowndes. Now, I'm predicting right now, this is going to be the pivotal game of the season for not the Valdosta game, not the Colquitt County game. This game right here is the pivotal point in the season for the Lowndes Vikings. And here's what I'm talking about. If Lowndes wins this game, then that's going to set the tone for the rest of the season. Because going into this game, Lowndes has got, their kids are taking a look at, okay, Gadsden County, okay, West Broward, not a top-notch team. East Coweta, we beat them. And so they're thinking, are we really that good? Remember, our quote of the day is be true to yourself. So when you're a Lowndes player, your coach, Lowndes coach, you look in the mirror, are we really that good? Only they know that question. So this is the pivotal game. If we can go up to Loganville and beat the Grayson Rams, we come back full of confidence, chest stuck out, stepping high onto that field at practice on Monday morning or probably Sunday. And now we're convinced that we're good. We don't even have to win this game. If we even keep it close, we're going into the open week after this Grayson game with a lot of confidence. I'm talking a lot of confidence. Travis Hart says I think he agrees with me. If we beat Grayson, I think we'll have a great chance against Colquitt. That's my point, Travis. That's my point. That's why I say, guys, I think this is the pivotal game of the season. So are you buying what I'm selling so far? Can you see Lowndes be going into the Grayson game 4-0? I think I've made a pretty good case so far. And I'm going to make a case, or I'm going to make the prediction that Lowndes is going to beat Grayson. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Lowndes is going to beat Grayson. And when that happens, you're talking about a confident group of kids. You're talking about a confident group of kids. This is the confident group of kids that we are expecting to see. Here's why it's so important. Now we've got an open week going into to prepare for that Valdosta game. And it's a major difference. When you're talking about high school kids, it's a major difference when kids are confident and they're thinking in the back of their mind, I thought we were good, but maybe we're not that good. Man, they just beat us pretty handily up there. So if we get beat by Grayson badly, and when I say badly, by 2 scores or more, then we come back and we got a little bit of different mood around the field house. But we win this game against Grayson, and we're stepping pretty high. The confidence is there. The swagger is there, preparing for this game. Now we're going into the region schedule. If we beat Grayson handily, we beat Valdosta handily. I'm just telling you, that's just the way it is. So let's assume for a second in Larry's world, I know I'm going to get a bunch of phone calls. I'm going to get some Valdosta fans texting me or message me on DMs like, what the heck are you talking about? But if we beat Grayson pretty handily, we're going to beat Valdosta pretty handily, even at their place. So now I've got Lowndes at 5-0 after Grayson. Let's assume for a second in Larry's world that we beat Valdosta. Now we're 6-0. Can you see how this may shape up to be a pretty good season? If we're 6-0 after the Valdosta game, I'm feeling pretty good about our season. I'm feeling excellent about our season. Now we go into, because of the quirky part of the schedule and what happened a couple years ago with scheduling changes with Florida teams, we had to put Dunbar High in basically in the middle of our region schedule right after the Valdosta game. So we beat Dunbar High, right? And we're going to beat them pretty bad. It's just the way it is. Now we're 7-0 going into Colquitt County. If I led off this show and I told you Lowndes is going to be 7-0 going into the Colquitt County game, would you accept that? Would you say, man, here, I will take that any day of the week? Or would you say to yourself, are you crazy? Now, many of you would be saying that second, the latter. Are you crazy? But now when we start to break things down week by week, you see how I get there. So let's assume for a second in Larry's world, we're 7-0 heading into Colquitt County, sky high. Man, you talk about a game of the century or at least a game of the year. When Lowndes hosts Colquitt, you're going to have a buzz all around the state because I'm predicting that Colquitt's going to be 7-0 heading into that week as well. So who emerges from that game 8-0 and in the driver's seat of the region? To many, that's a tough game. To many, that's a really, really tough game. So for a lot of folks, they're probably thinking, yeah, we're at home against Colquitt, but it's still Colquitt. And if you want to be the bully in the woods, you got to beat the bully in the woods, right? As Dusty Rhodes would say, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. So who's going to be the man after the Colquitt County Packers come calling? I'm predicting right here, Lowndes is going to be sky high, and the Vikings will be 8-0 after the Colquitt County game. Now, I know what's going to happen. The Valdosta coaches, the Colquitt coaches, they're going to get this video. They're going to clip it. They're going to do this. They're going to put it on they're going to do whatever, and it's going to be bulletin board material, but I don't care because I'm a Lowndes guy. And if as a Lowndes guy, if I can't have confidence in my team, then nobody can. And they're going to use it for bulletin board material. They're going to be sky high. Their emotions are going to be off the charts. The Packers are coming into Martin Stadium. But I call it. I listen, it's official. After what Jody Hewitt said about what Adam Carter is doing at the middle school level, I think it's official now. I'm calling him Ace. Coach Ace. The Adam Carter effect. Wilbur Pelfrey, Wilbur, I like the way you think. Wilbur says at home, Lowndes is worth 13 points. Now, if you were an opponent of Lowndes, you might say, yeah, against Colquitt, they'll be looking to score 13 points. That's what many of the naysayers would say. Brian Spray says, I like Larry's World. Keep on plowing. Absolutely. I thought you would. But do you see the possibility though? When we started this conversation, when I threw out 8-2, 9-1, possibly 10-0, many of you were thinking he's out of his mind. There's no way. But now can you see some of these pivotal games? If we pick off this team, or if we play out of our minds here, and this happens, then we're sky high at anything can happen. Listen, if nothing, football is a game of confidence more than anything else. You don't think that a 7-0 Lowndes Vikings team, you don't think those kids are going to have a little bit extra swagger for the Packers that night? Absolutely, they will. 100% they will. So I don't think Lowndes is an underdog in any of these games, in my mind. In Larry's world, Lowndes is never an underdog. Yeah. I know what you're saying. You're just viewing the Vikings through some crimson-colored glasses, but that's okay. That's what you guys pay me to do, just to pump up the crowd, right? And I'm trying my best to sell you on the Lowndes Vikings. And I think I've done a pretty good job of it tonight. Okay, so after Lowndes beats Colquitt County, now, dare I say it, we're 8-0. And we're traveling to Richmond Hill. Lowndes is going to beat Richmond Hill to go 9-0. Going into November 3rd, hosting the last regular season playoff game. Not playoff game, regular season game, last region game. Now, if everything lays out the way I've sold it tonight, then Lowndes is 3-0 in region play. And now we're hosting Camden County. When's the last time Lowndes has played 3 Wildcat teams in 1 year? And we've got 3 Wildcats in our region now. So we're hosting the Camden County Wildcats on November 3rd. Lowndes makes the adjustment against the Wing T, beats Camden to go 10-0. Casey. We all in LG's world. We are the Viking Nation. We believe. I love it. We need to have big signs printed out for fans every single week. We believe. It's the Adam Carter effect. I'm sky high on the Adam Carter effect. Coach Carter, please don't let me down. I'm sticking my neck out here. I don't want to get chopped off in the middle part of the season. Now, it is possible that we could stumble because, like Candace said, any given Friday night, any team can win. And we've seen it happen. We've seen games where Lowndes is the heavy favorite and we lose. We've seen games where we're definitely the underdog and we won. Remember last year's game against Grayson, Lowndes was definitely the underdog. So Grayson comes into the Concrete Palace, or what? Lowndes sends them packing with a big L. Wilbur Helfrey says, last year, LG. I don't understand what you mean. I don't understand that. Yeah. Wilbur, call. I have no idea what you're talking. Tierra says, I trust Coach Carter. Absolutely, man. Listen, I fielded some calls, and sometimes the conversation goes like this: are you sure about this Adam Carter guy? You seem really hyped up about him. Here's my feelings on any Lowndes coach. It was the same with Zach Grage. It was the same with Jamie DuBose. It was the same with Ren. When there's a new coach in town, when there's a new sheriff in town, we don't know squat about them. We know what they've done in the past. We know their recent history, that kind of stuff, but we don't know. We haven't seen them gel with our players and our program yet, so we don't know. But I give every coach the benefit. I give every coach the benefit of the doubt. Right? What else can you do? So I think if you're a good fan, that you're going to give the coach every chance to succeed. So what does that mean? Now, some of you out there are naysayers by nature. Yeah, that you're just going to be critical. Just some of you are. I'm not going to call names, or whatever, but you know who you are. And when Jamie DuBose was hired, you didn't like the hire because that's just you just like to criticize. When Zach Grage was hired, the same thing. When Adam Carter was hired, same thing. Some of you just don't. But I think great fans are the ones that give their coaches the benefit of the doubt and just give them every possible chance to succeed without being a naysayer yet. Give them a chance to prove themselves. And I'm right there right now. I'm on board the Adam Carter train. I just am. Travis Hart, listen, I love this comment. In Ace, we trust. I love it. The Adam Carter effect. Love it. Love it. Candace says, I'm with you. I trust the staff. Yeah. Jacob Williams says, from what I've also heard, Marvis Parrish looks even better. I've heard the same. Let's see. Wilbur says, playing 3 Wildcats. We got to beat the Wildcats 3 times this year. Absolutely, Wilbur. Jody Hewitt says, a lot of people didn't like Mac. That's true. Now, Jody, in his defense, a lot of people did like him. And a lot of people didn't. You know, won't get into that. Greg Maddox says, from what I've heard, Colquitt's defense is down this year. Greg, don't believe that. Don't believe what you've heard. It's going to be a good defense. But I think we've got a good defense. I think we've got a good offense that's improving. Listen, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I just do. That's my honest opinion. Now, this part, I'm not selling you anything. I think you are going to be pleasantly surprised. You are. Now, do y'all remember a couple of weeks ago when we had Phil Jones join the show? You know, I asked him to give his outlook, his preview of Camden County and Richmond Hill. And so he did. And so, and then he asked me what was my take on Lowndes. And so I gave y'all my take on that. So we won't rehash all that. But he has come out because, you know, part of what he does with ITG Next, he does a really, really good job of keeping tabs on a lot of different programs. He talks personally to a lot of coaches around the state. And he'll come out with his, preview, his season preview. And so he came out with something for Lowndes. It's the team preview for Lowndes this year. So he reminds us what the record was last year. I don't know what's wrong with my screen. It just seems like I'm bouncing around a little bit. Is everything okay with the video? It just seems like I'm freezing a little bit. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. But hopefully the broadcast is still pretty good. So he does a recap. Let's see, I'm hoping to come back right before. So I think it was Jody that asked. Jody, here's Billy. I knew Billy was watching. Here's his response. He says, Jody, I've been busy. I'm hoping to come back right before the season. All right. So here's Phil's preview. He gives us a little review of last season, overall record 5-6, points scored, 287 points allowed, 275. That's a little close. That differential's not much right there. So you can see that we had some defensive issues last year, and at the same time, we didn't score very many points. That's a devastating combination. So here are the key losses, according to Phil. He says, the Vikings will miss big-time playmaker Kevis Thomas. I miss Kevis already. He was just an all-world athlete. He made some phenomenal plays downfield. So the Vikings will miss big-time playmaker Kevis Thomas, who played receiver and cornerback for the Vikings. In addition to returning kicks and punts, Thomas pulled down 427 receiving yards. I think it could have been much higher than that if we'd have targeted, if we would have put more focus on the passing game. Kevis was a special athlete, and he was a game breaker, and I think we could have done more with the passing game. Excuse me. Ronnie Davis was a major locker room influence with the Vikings on the field. He got it done too. Like Thomas, he played offense defense. He was awarded our ITG Next Community Involvement Award last year. Other players that would be missed: linebacker Mekhi Crawford, outstanding baller. Cornerback Jakyle Blair, and cornerback CJ Brown, who's back. So he says new head coach Adam Carter is eager to welcome back several offensive defensive starters this season. Group includes junior quarterback Marvis Parrish, who will be back for his second year. As last year, he threw for 1,329 yards and 8 touchdowns. I think he could have easily doubled that if we'd have focused on the passing game, while rushing for 709 yards with 15 touchdowns. Pretty good, impressive offensive stats. He had the reliable senior running back Jakari Smoke Fleming back with him in the offensive backfield. Smoke rushed for 1,300 yards last year. Now, here's some other keys on the offensive side of the ball. Junior wide receiver Jalen Carter is returning this season. Senior tight end Grant Lasky, offensive tackle Daniel Jones. Carter tells ITG Next that his top returning defensive players are junior linebackers Coleman Lewis, Johnny Bebo. I think Johnny left the team, if I'm not mistaken, as well as Austin Wilford. So he says Coleman Lewis and junior defensive tackle Andres Contreras. He added senior linebacker O'Shea Brooks to the group of top returning defensive players from last year. So he says, here's his prediction. Carter has proven he can build a team into a state championship contender. He did that very thing at Grayson. Now, it is arguable that he had a lot of talent to work with there at Grayson. When I'm talking about a lot of talent, I'm talking about all world talent. Remember, that was the year that Jake Garcia transferred in as well. So yeah, his team was probably loaded from top to bottom. But I understand Phil's point. Carter's proven he can build a team into a state champion contender. He did that very thing at Grayson, leading the Rams to the 7-8 state title in 2020. There's no doubt he'll get there with this Vikings team eventually. That's the key word that Phil throws in there at the end of this sentence. He says there's no doubt he'll get there with this Viking teams eventually. So he says, my prediction for the 2023 Lions team is 8-4. Now, obviously, he's including playoff games. So it sounds like he's either saying Lions is going to go, at least 7-3, or maybe 8-2 in the regular season. No, actually, I guess a little bit more than that. So he predicts, anyway, the overall record for the season he is predicting is 8-4. So he says the game to watch is the Wintersville Classic against Valdosta on October 6th. Lowndes wants the trophy back. Now, that is true. All of that is true. Now, I would disagree with one area. I think the game to watch, I've said it before, the pivotal game is that September 22nd meeting at Grayson. Now, if you're a Lowndes coach, you're probably screaming at your screen right now saying, no, the most pivotal game right now is on August 19th against Christ School, because that's the first game of the year. And that's what I would expect a coach to say. But as a fan, as what we do here at the Viking Nation, I'm saying that the pivotal game of this, the one to watch, is the away game against Grayson. I think that sets the tone for the rest of the year. So anyway, could be wrong, but I don't think I am. So let's get back to your comments here. Oh, okay. So Candice Marie says, no, Bebo is still with us. That's good to hear because I've been hearing that he'd left the team. So, Coach Trainer said Bebo came back on Monday. Okay, so he did leave the team. He came back on Monday. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Now, how did Jalen Carter come up with the nickname Waffle House? Who was the first one to coin that nickname for Jalen, the Waffle House? Because he's always open 24/7. And that, as a wide receiver, you can't ask for a better compliment than that, right? Jalen, aka Waffle House, will have a great season. That's according to Travis Hart. I agree. Wilbur says, Candace, that's good to hear talking about Johnny Bebo. Jody says, Phil's take don't match the view I've had. Jody, brother, you throwing in some major teasers tonight. Major teasers tonight. Now, to Phil's credit, he does credit the Vikings are going 8-4. Now, I'm trying to do the math. So one loss in the play. So he's talking about what? At least 3 losses in the regular season. That's what he's saying, right? So he's predicting a 7-4. Oh, and a 7-3 regular season. So he's got us losing 3 regular season games. So if you do the math, he's probably got us losing against Colquitt, probably against Valdosta, and either Grayson or Camden. Now, if he's thinking that we lose 3 games and 3 of those are region opponents, then that would put us 1-3 in the region. And now at 1-3, you're probably the 4th seed, right? Because the only team that you're probably going to beat, according to Phil, if I'm reading his math right, is Richmond Hill, and that would put Lowndes in the 4th seed. So he's thinking that you win the first round. Well, I don't know. The 4th seed's got a very, very tough game in that first round. Mushroom treatment. Candace says, my kid was open all season. I agree. Candace. I agree. Oh, man. Jalen, man, I'm really hoping you have a great season, dude. No doubt that you are. What are you talking about? Oh, Chase did. They're saying Chase came up with the Waffle House. I like it. Now, Jalen, have you come up with a nickname for Chase? I'm just kidding. Inquiring minds want to know. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If he's going to stick you with a nickname, I would think that it'd be fair treatment for you to do the same. But I do like the nickname Waffle House. It's pretty clever. So, anyway, so that's what Phil's take is on that. Do y'all agree? Y'all agree with his take? So, anyway, it's going to be a fascinating season. Now, Jody's teasing about come on out August 11th. That is the scrimmage game against Tift County. And he says that you're not going to recognize this team because you're still thinking the Lowndes of old. Now, that kind of indicates to me, Jody, that now I already know the answer to this, but that kind of indicates to me, if I'm a casual fan, is there's going to be some massive changes. There's going to be some major overhauls to the offensive and defensive side. Now, the defense is going to be pretty easy to spot because it's going to be a 3-3 stack defense. But if you're used to seeing a Camden County play defense, this is where it looks pretty familiar, because I think that's where Adam Carter learned that defense under Jeff Herron, didn't he? Is that right? Before we go, tell them to reach out to a player and get their link to support this last fundraiser. Absolutely. So reach out to a player, whether it's Jalen or Johnny or whoever your favorite player is. Just pick a player if you don't have a favorite, and click on their link. Jalen's, sharing his link right now. Click on the link and donate to the program. Because trust me, it takes a lot of money to run this program and to do it right. Now, Coach Trainer, I don't know if I should put this comment on the screen, the 3-3 stack, because the last time we saw this run was TCU against Georgia in the national championship. Yeah, TCU runs this defense. Now, it's a very good defense. You got to have some good personnel. It's got to be executed well. And it was very difficult for TCU's defense to defend the national champion Georgia Bulldogs, right? But with that said, very good defense. So it's going to be a little bit different. It's different from a regular three down lineman type of concept. But what I think most fans, Jody, wants to see, and they're speculating about, is how different the offense is going to look, right? How different is the offense going to look? Is it going to be a lot of downhill running like we're accustomed to as a Lowndes fan? You're going to be more balanced with throwing it more. If you do throw it, is it going to be the same old swing pass out to the running back or the wide receiver screen out there to the flats? That's what the casual fan wants to know right now, right? And that's what they're taking away from your tees. You may not recognize this Lowndes team. Show up on August 11th. So we'll see. You got us all excited and interested, right? Travis Hart says Lowndes will run the 3-3 better than TCU. Absolutely. Bring on the Georgia Bulldogs. Absolutely. Greg says I think he's talking about Phil. He probably thinks Colquitt, Valdosta, and Grayson, possibly, but he's very, very high on Camden. So I would not put it past Phil to think that Jeff Herron comes over here and beats Lowndes. I don't know. That's just me surmising what he's saying, right? But again, Phil does a good show, does a good job with ITG Next, and if you guys, especially during the season, I think he has his weekday show starting at 5 that runs Monday through Wednesday. I think during the off season he might just do it either on Monday or Tuesday or just Monday. I can't remember. Trainer says, LG, 2 questions. Are you going to the HSFB Media Day Wednesday? Have you and Joe interviewed anybody this week? We were scheduled to interview someone. We were trying to schedule someone this week, but I am going out of town. So next week, I won't be in town. I'm actually going to a work-related event down in Central Florida. And then I'm going to extend that to a few days of vacation. So I won't be back until the middle part or sometime next week. Can't remember exactly when, but sometime. So to answer your question, no, I won't be at the media day on Wednesday because of that. I just won't be here. Now, if one of you guys want to show up to represent the Viking Nation, Chase, if you want to show up, Tierra, one of you guys, ask some questions, that kind of stuff, record it, shoot me the video. We'll make sure we upload it to the Viking Nation. Wilbur says, I believe Jody will maybe referring to a stronger, faster team. I'm hoping to see that too, Wilbur. Now, I'm also hoping to see a little bit of change on offense, to be honest with you, right? To me, this 3 yards and a cloud of dust stuff, we got to diversify a little bit. And that's kind of what I took away when we talked to Don Bailey, the new offensive coordinator, earlier this year. That's what he was talking about. You got to be able to use the personnel that you have. But you got to go with you got to diversify your offense a little bit more as well in modern day football. That's my opinion anyway. Candace got another reminder for fans. Get your clear bags, cowbells, Viking fans, hats, stadium seats ready. Absolutely. And don't forget, clear bag policy. It's a good point. Thank you so much for that reminder, Candace. So, guys, that's going to – let's see. They're definitely stronger if you haven't seen – yeah. Absolutely. Smoke looks like a beast. He does. Grant Lasky looks like a monster out there. What is Grant, like 6'3", 6'5", something like that? He looks like a monster out there. Hard to take a ball out of the hands of a guy that ran for 1,300 yards. Absolutely. 1,300 yards is 1,300 yards, though, right? So there's still another several thousand yards to get. And I don't think we're going to run for 4,000 yards. So all I'm saying is there's a lot of talent on that field, and you don't have to run every single play. I'm just asking for a more balanced approach. I don't think that's too much to ask. As a fan, that's what we all expect or all want anyway. So, yeah, I love running the ball, especially got a guy like, two guys really like Smoke and Road Dog and Aleem Brown. Fantastic, outstanding running backs. But what we've seen, Lowndes is no stranger to running the ball, Jody. Absolutely not. But when you run all the time, and you don't diversify, and you get into a game where you got to pass and you have to pass, and you're just not very good at it because you just don't do it very much. That's my only point. So I love the idea of running the ball. I just would love, as a fan, I would just love to see a more balanced approach just to keep the defense guessing a little bit. That's all. To me, I don't care if it's 50-50, 60-40. I just want to see more passing. Candace says, just wait till you see Marv unleash that arm. I hope to see it, Candace. I hope to. I hope it's long, deep, and accurate. One thing I can't stand see, because I remember when I was playing football for Barry and I, we had a strong arm quarterback. I may have just graduated when he came up, and he took over the team, and that dude had a cannon for an arm. But he couldn't hit the side of a barn. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but he couldn't hit the side of a barn. But I'm hoping that Marvis is deadly accurate. So anyway, Billy says that not Brock, but Grant could be the Brock Bowers of high school football. Billy, I almost made a slip of the tongue and almost said Brock has the chance to be the Grant of high school football. No, Grant could be the Brock Bowers of high school football. Absolutely, absolutely. Casey Harrell says, LG, get some shirts made up. Viking Nation, we believe, and in Ace, we trust. We can prepay and raise funds to get those silver helmets. Hey, you giving me an idea, Casey? I love the idea. I love it. Love it. So maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I have been toying around with some designs on the Viking Nation t-shirts and other designs as well. And you guys, I think by now you've come to expect when we produce something for our organization, whether it's this show or graphics or whatever on Facebook, our emphasis is always not on speed to put 3 or 4 or 5 things up in a week. Our emphasis is on high quality stuff. So Casey, if we ever produced a shirt design, it is going to be a top-notch design on quality material. I mean, that's my commitment to you guys. Right. So anyway, Candace says, Casey, I might be censored enough for public speaking. Okay. I'll take your word for it. So Casey, stay tuned. We're working on something. I don't know if we'll get it out by the start of the season, but we'll try our very best. Guys, with that said, that's going to wrap it up for the show tonight. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Thank you so much for tuning in the entire off season from what we took a couple of weeks break at the beginning of the season. Then we started back up when late February, early March, something like that. And then we've been nonstop all the way up to the current date. And so thank you for staying with us. As the season ramps up, we're going to ramp up the show. We're going to have more guests. We're going to have more super fans. We're still planning on, still don't know if we're going to do it for sure. We're still planning on having the Viking Nation tailgate show from Touchdown Alley. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Tailgate Alley there at the stadium. And so we'll see. We're trying to get permission to have it inside the stadium, but we'll see. I don't know if we can pull that off, but we are trying. But for sure, if we do the show, for sure we'll probably have it there at the very least, Tailgate Alley. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for us for this week. Thank you for tuning in. As always, may God bless every single one of you, and go Vikings. Adios.
We'll be right back.